Suzu Naito is a 12th grader with a pretty normal life, until one day she joins a virtual reality game called You. To understand why Suzu enters this virtual world, we first have to understand the silent, paralyzing grief that defines her physical reality. Years ago, Suzu's mother died. She didn't pass away from an illness or an accident. She died trying to save a strange child from a flooding river. To the rest of the world, her mother was a selfless hero. But for Suzu, her mother's sacrifice felt like an abandonment. It left her fractured. In her grief, Suzu lost her connection to her father, her self-worth, and her ability to sing, the one thing that bound her to her mother's memory. Whenever she tries to sing in the real world, she is physically sickened by her own anxiety. She is a prisoner of her own trauma, quietly fading into the background of her rural high school. Then she discovers You. This is a massive, cutting-edge virtual world powered by biometric technology. When you create an account, the app scans your body, your heart rate, and your brainwaves, translating your hidden subconscious potential into a digital avatar called an as. For Suzu, this biometric mirror creates Belle, a breathtakingly beautiful, pink-haired, confident pop icon. The moment Suzu steps into this digital skin, the emotional block vanishes. She sings. Within days, Belle becomes a global viral sensation, her voice echoing to billions of users. Yet, while the internet falls in love with this perfect glowing mask, Suzu remains just as broken and isolated in real life. This is the starting point of Mamoru Hosoda's masterclass. What initially presents itself as a high-tech retelling of Beauty and the Beast gradually reveals itself to be a profound study of modern trauma, digital projection, and the terrifying courage it takes to be vulnerable. To appreciate the depth of this story, we have to look at how Hosoda frames a relationship with technology. He is no stranger to virtual worlds, having explored them in Digimon and Summer Wars. But while those earlier films treated the internet as a playground or a battleground, Belle treats it as a psychological landscape. The film suggests that our online personas aren't actually fake. Rather, they are the most honest parts of ourselves. When Suzu is in the real world, she hunches her shoulders, stammers, and physically shrinks away from human contact. Her grief has made her feel small and worthless. You, on the other hand, doesn't let you hide your inner beauty. Belle is drawing out Suzu's true self. The avatar is not a lie. It's a manifestation of the artistic soul Suzu buried when her mother died. Still, there is a tragedy in this duality. Suzu can only share her gift when she is wrapped in a digital shield of flawless skin. She loves being Belle, but she hates that she inevitably has to return to being Suzu. This dynamic introduces one of the film's most brilliant relationships, Suzu's bond with her best friend, Hiroka, simply known as Hiro. If Suzu is the emotional, fragile soul of Belle, Hiro is the cynical, tech-savvy brain behind her. Hiro is an internet-native genius, clinical, brutally honest, and deeply pragmatic. When Suzu accidentally sings in You and panics, thinking she has ruined her life, Hiro immediately recognizes the potential. She doesn't just encourage Suzu, she actively engineers Belle's rise to stardom. Operating from a hidden computer lab in their school, Hiro acts as Belle's producer, publicist, and digital bodyguard, manipulating algorithms and organizing virtual concerts to keep Belle at the top of the trending charts. The contrast between them is what makes their friendship work. Suzu leads with emotion, while Hiro sees the internet for what it really is, a system. But beneath her sarcasm, Hiro is simply trying to protect her friend. While everyone else falls in love with Belle, Hiro never forgets the quiet, grieving girl behind the screen. While Hiro acts as her shield in the digital world, Suzu's emotional anchor in the real world is her childhood friend Shinobu. Popular, observant, and quietly protective, Shinobu has been watching over Suzu since her mother died. He was the first to notice her withdrawing into herself. Throughout high school, he keeps a quiet distance, never pushing too hard, but always staying close enough to catch her if she falls. He plays the role of a guardian, constantly checking up on her and trying to coax her out of her shell. This creates a beautiful tension in the story. Shinobu's constant protection, while well-intentioned, occasionally makes Suzu feel even smaller, reminding her of her own helplessness. He wants to help her find her voice again, yet Suzu is terrified of letting him see just how broken she really is. He is her strongest link to the past, representing the life she had before grief took over. This fragile double life is disrupted when her virtual concert is crashed by the Beast, a violent, scarred, and chaotic avatar who fights in the Colosseum of You. The virtual world reacts to the Beast exactly the way the internet reacts to anything it doesn't understand, with immediate, self-righteous fury. Enter Justin and his squad of justices. Justin represents the toxic side of online moral superiority. Under the guise of keeping the peace, Justin and his followers use a special weapon that can forcibly unveil avatars, revealing their real-world identities to expose them to public doxing, harassment, and cancellation. For Justin, the Beast is not a person to be helped. He is a target to be destroyed for public clout. Suzu, however, doesn't see a monster. She notices the heavy, physical bruises covering the Beast's body. In a world where your avatar is generated by your biometrics, those bruises are a projection of deep, real-world agony. Suzu recognizes that pain because she carries her own. This empathy leads to the devastating revelation of the film. The Beast is actually Kei, a young boy living in a cramped apartment in Tokyo. Along with his younger brother, Kei is suffering from severe, ongoing physical abuse at the hands of his father. When Suzu tries to reach out to Kei through a video call, he is defensive and completely distrustful. He doesn't believe that a famous, perfect virtual idol like Belle could ever care about him. He tells her that she doesn't know what real pain is. And in a way, he is right. As long as she is hiding behind the perfect face of Belle, her empathy is shielded. To save him, Suzu must make the ultimate sacrifice. She must strip away her armor. Logging back into You in front of billions of spectators, with Justin ready to expose her, Suzu voluntarily initiates her own unveil. She lets the beautiful visage of Belle dissolve, revealing her plain, tear-streaked, real-world face. And then she sings. A dream. Without the safety of the avatar, without the auto-tune, with all her flaws and grief on display, she sings as Suzu. This is the emotional peak of the film. By showing her real, vulnerable self to the world, she doesn't just gain Kei's trust, she finally reclaims the voice she lost when her mother died. She proves that true empathy cannot exist behind a mask. It requires us to show our own wounds to help heal the wounds of others. Many critics of Belle have argued that the final act is structurally strange. Instead of calling the police, Suzu immediately hops on a train from her rural town and travels to Tokyo alone to find Kei. However, this choice is essential to Hosoda's message. Up until this point, the digital world was where all the miracles happened. But a virtual connection, no matter how profound, is not enough to heal real-world trauma. Suzu has to physically go to Tokyo. When she finds Kei and his brother, their abusive father confronts them, physically threatening Suzu and cutting her cheek. She doesn't flinch. She stands her ground, shielding the boys with the exact same quiet, self-sacrificing courage her mother showed years ago. In that terrifying moment, she finally understands why her mother died to save a stranger. Faced with Suzu's raw, unyielding courage, the father crumbles and leaves. The virtual world didn't solve Kei's domestic abuse, and it didn't bring Suzu's mother back. What it did do was give Suzu the mirror she needed to realize she was strong enough to face the real world. And when she returns to her hometown, she is finally able to stand as Shinobu's equal. He no longer has to play the role of her guardian. She has found her own strength. For me, and I think for many of us, the internet and gaming act as a competitive escape, a place where we can project the loudest, most invincible versions of ourselves. It's easy to feel untouchable when you're anonymous, hiding behind a screen and focusing entirely on the next text or the next fight. But Belle reminds us of the danger of getting lost in those projections. In the end, the film succeeds because it doesn't play it safe. It takes a classic fairy tale, gives it a stunning modern upgrade, and uses it to tell a story about grief, online toxicity, and the healing power of vulnerability. We live in a world where we constantly project curated, perfect versions of ourselves online, hiding our bruises and our grief behind digital masks. Belle challenges us to look past the pixels. It reminds us that while the internet can help us find our voice, it is our real, unmasked, and vulnerable selves that have the power to save lives. And I think that's a message worth singing about.